Greetings and salutations. I have no idea why my phone cut off this time, so we'll just go from where I left off. Making of a Hutch, we just did part 10, this is part 11, and I'll quickly finish my story about NASA. So, I got the phone call about NASA, I went in, and it was not just a simple process of going in. I had to drive down this road that had all these signs saying no drinking, no weapons, no firearms. This is not a private road. This is not a public road. Turn back now. And I got to the guard gate, and there were people with semi-automatic weapons. Guards with semi-automatic weapons and handguns and all kinds of stuff on their belts. And I had to go into the guard shack. They had to show me a 15-minute video about what they called hypergolic fuel. I'll explain that later. And how to be safe and how not to die while you're there. Well, that was all interesting. But since I wasn't scared because I love anything to do with rockets and engines and space. So, you know, I had to wait for the HR person to come down and to take me to the propulsion area, the 300 propulsion area where I work now. Went into this giant, not giant, but this big thick walled building called the blockhouse. And it's that for a reason. It's got walls that are 1.5 feet thick, concrete, to survive a blast in case of a rocket exploded. The chance of it even getting at the building, the test stands are quite a ways away, so it's safe. Anyways, I had my interview, and while I was there, I decided to go total nerd, and I just threw out all my sci-fi references and jokes, and I was my natural self. And believe it or not, I still got the job. The funniest thing is the manager there got all of my jokes, and everybody was laughing, and that was the best interview of my life. I got home and my wife says, hey, how'd it go? And I'm like, I don't know, but those are my people. I'm not sure, but those are my people. They were nerds just like me, both all into space just like I am. Wow, it was incredible. So, at the time, you said before I was unemployed looking for jobs. I don't know if to say desperate and bored or both. I took a job at a call center for Apple Care support. Jobs at call centers, I would imagine, if you imagine how frustrating it is to answer one of those phone calls from a call center, it's more frustrating when people call you and you have to answer their questions because they're usually pretty pissed when they call. So good luck with that. Not a pleasant experience. They did the best they could at the call center. They give out free lunches, and I had 2 weeks training. And the first few days, after the first day I worked in what they call the production floor, I ended up I came home and my wife was making dinner and she goes, let's eat. I'm like, okay. Don't know why we had to eat as soon as I got home, but we did. And after dinner, my wife's like, well, I wanted to eat because I knew as soon as I told you we wouldn't be eating for a long time. She says, got a call from NASA. There's an email in your email box and you got a job. The offer is in your email. As you can imagine, I was over the moon. But being a data analyst job, I didn't think I was going to make that much money. But I didn't care. I was working for NASA. Contractor for NASA, to be precise. Now, let me cut this first, and then I'll go back and hope the phone doesn't shut off. I mentioned that I was a computer programmer for 15 years. I was making a pretty decent wage, but this job started at 10 cents more an hour, starting wage, than I was working at 15 years as a computer programmer. And I'm not kidding you, the job required 2 years in IT experience, or 2-year college of IT, and that's it. the reason it pays so well is it's a union job. Proud to be a member of union, brother. Never had a union job before. My dad worked in a shop and was union his whole life, pro-union. So to me, that was even better. Now I'm a member of a union. In fact, now I'm a shop steward. That happened later. However, a shop steward, not the shop steward. However, here I am, and what the job entails, data analyst, is I work with the electrical engineers, and I help get the information, the technical information into the computer. I make sure that the systems are running, and if they break down, I am the first, like the level 1 help desk. I have to help figure it out. And if I can, I call a higher up group that I work with called the Propulsion Computer Engineering Group, and they help me fix the problem. So I work with the software and the hardware, and I work with engineers, and we have to put in these things called curves. Well, one of the reasons I got the job, I think, is because I was a math major, and curves are exactly what they sound like. They're actual curves that you would map out in a formula. The computer generates a formula, but the computer does a lot of the work. But when you're entering the data, if something doesn't look right, you kind of learn that after a while. You bring it up to the engineers, and they help you figure it out. Now, engineers are uber nerds, and they're my people. They are my people. They're not all nerdy. A lot of them are very into sports and athletics and everything else, but they're still nerds. They're just real cool nerds. Now, it's just like Wayne and Garth going to Alice Cooper, "We're not worthy." I want to go to their feet and go, "We're not worthy. I'm not worthy." That's how much I like those kind of people. In fact, I considered becoming an engineer myself, and I still think about it from time to time. But I really like doing the job I'm doing. And on top of getting data into the system, I also have to get the data out and give it to the customer. I was a computer programmer, but before that I worked for a grocery store for 7 years and then Walmart for another 3. 10 years in retail. I work pretty good with customers. So I get to be there at the area when they turn on these rockets motors, and I get to be part of that whole thing. And the data I provide is very important. It's the end product, that between the data that our system generates